This is going to be a video on how to get pure ReShade, the preset, working with Baldur's Gate 3, along with ReShade, the application, and the ReShade UI Masker mod as well. So this video is just going to have all the info so that you can kind of follow along. You'll be able to pause it and rewind it and stuff if I'm going a bit too fast as well. So first things first, make sure you're on the pure ReShade page on the Nexus. And you're going to scroll down and we've got this preset installation instruction section just here in the description. And we're just going to start there and work our way down. Now it says download the preset file from the file section. Okay, so we're going to scroll back up to the top. And we have this file section here next to the description. Click on the file section, scroll down a little bit, and we're going to manually download our this file, the preset file. So we're going to hit manual download. It's going to say, please ensure you have these files installed properly before attempting to use this file. That's fine. We're going to go through that. So we're going to hit this download button here. And then I'm just going to click on slow download. And there we are. It's completed. Excellent. Okay, we'll get back to that in just a second. So we're going to go back to the description now, up at the top. Description. And we'll scroll down. And it says, extract the downloaded file into the game's bin folder. Okay, so what is that? Well, it says the typical Steam path. So that is if you have Baldur's Gate installed through Steam. It's going to be C, Program Files x86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Baldur's Gate 3, and then bin. So we can either go there directly, or instead you can open up Steam and you can hit this little cogwheel over here. Select Baldur's Gate 3, that is. So once you've got Baldur's Gate 3 selected, you're on this page for the game. You can go to this cog over here, hit this cog, go down to manage, and then you can see browse local files. Now you can also do that from right clicking the game in the over here on this little pane, click manage and browse local files as well. And what this will do, so it'll open up an Explorer window with the game's install directory, and then from there we just need to go to the bin folder. Okay, so here we are in this bin directory. So this is where we're going to be kind of installing all the stuff that we want, right? So I'm just going to leave this open for now. Okay. And what it says is it wants us to extract the downloaded file into the game's bin folder. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if I go to my downloads folder, which is actually over here. So my downloads folder, and we have our, well, in fact, I can set this up a bit nicer if we just put these here. So we've got our downloads folder up here. We've got our Baldur's Gate 3 bin file folder down here, the directory. And then we've got our web browser over here on the left. Okay, so it says extract the downloaded file. So we're going to open this up to extract it. And we have this pure underscore 1.0.2.ini file. And we're going to move that into our Baldur's Gate 3 bin directory. So we're going to drag that into here. And it says copy to bin, right? If you drag it a little bit further, it will say copy to DB or copy to native mods. Let's not do that. Let's make sure we're copying it to bin. And then once it's been copied, hopefully you'll see it appear. It's right at the bottom of my screen there. But if I blow that up a bit, hopefully you can move out of the way. Right there. Okay, so it's in the folder as we'd expect. Excellent. Oh, so let's view that back of the details view. Okay, cool. It's at the bottom there. Okay, so next. And that is the preset installation done. That's all we need to do to get the preset off this page and done. Everything else now is from other bits of the web. The first is going to be installing ReShade. We've got the preset working, but we actually need the application running for it so that we can actually see what it's doing. So it says visit reshade.me and click the download button. We're going to open this in a new tab. So we're just going to right click, open a new tab. So reshade.me, hit the download button. Now there's two different versions of the file here. We've got ReShade 6.2 and ReShade 6.2 with full add-on support. If you don't care about the ReShade UI Masker, you just want to throw on the ReShade and you don't mind it messing with your UI too much, then the top one is fine for you. If you want to follow this tutorial, and we're going to go through also installing the UI Masker so that the preset doesn't affect the UI, then we'll want the add-on support. Just as an FYI, the reason we don't want it to affect the UI is because if we do things like adding depth of field, etc., it can blur the UI, and that can make it quite hard to see what's going on, right? So what we'll do is we're going to download the ReShade 6.2 with full add-on support. Let's go download, and then it should appear in our downloads folder, which if we go over here, back to the downloads folder, we see here we've got this ReShade underscore setup underscore 6.2 underscore add-on.exe. Okay. So now we can close this ReShade page. We don't need it anymore. So we're back on the installation instructions now. So we have Set up ReShade. Start the setup and select the version of Baldur's Gate 3 for ReShade. Okay, I'm actually just going to pause here for a second. It says select bg3.exe if you run the game with Vulkan, or bg3_dx11 if you run the game with DirectX 11. To be able to work out which one you run with, you can launch the game, and then on the Larian launcher, you will see which rendering API you can use, you are using underneath the play button. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to open up Steam again. I'm going to click play, and then it's going to open up the Larian launcher for Baldur's Gate. There it is. And then underneath the play button, we will see DirectX 11 or Vulkan. Now, DirectX 11 is currently ticked because I'm using DirectX 11. If I'm using Vulkan, Vulkan will be ticked. Now, because of that, I'm using DX11. I'm going to select bg3_dx11 when I'm doing this install process. If you're using Vulkan, you'll just select bg3.exe. Small caveat. If you are doing the ReShade UI Masker, it has some issues with Vulkan. I think it works-ish, but it definitely works very well with DirectX 11. So if you are having some issues and you've been using Vulkan for this, it might be worth trying again with DirectX 11 if you can't find a solution for Vulkan. Okay, just something to bear in mind. Okay, I'm stopping this now. So we know that we're installing with DirectX 11, so we're going to select that when we do the install. So I'm going to open up this ReShade. It's going to tell us that it's only intended for single player games, may cause bans in multiplayer. It will not cause bans in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to select bg3, oh no, there we are, bg3.exe _dx11. That's the one I want. So I'm going to hit next. It's going to automatically select Microsoft DirectX 10, 11, 12 for me. If you've selected the other one, which is just bg3, it will automatically select Vulkan for you. I'm going to click next. Okay, now I'm going to pause again. So it's asking us for some effects to install. Well, here we see when selecting the effects to install, select a preset file.ini to install only the effects it uses. And we're going to select pure 1.0.2.ini to only install the effects that we need for this ReShade. So down at the bottom where it says choose a preset file.ini to install only the effects it uses, and there's a browse button, we're going to hit that. And I'm just going to select pure 1.0.2.ini. And then there we are. It's going to automatically have selected all the effects that we're using and not install anything that's unnecessary. Okay, so we're going to click next. It's going to download those effects for us. It might take a second. Okay, once those are done, it's going to say select some add-ons to install. We're going to actually leave this for now. We're only going to use one add-on, but we're going to get that directly from GitHub. So we're just going to click next again. And then we're going to click finish. Okay, so that's the ReShade installed, and that's the preset installed as well. We're going to launch the game though, because we've got a little bit more to do. We need to make sure that when Baldur's Gate 3 has been launched and opened, we can actually select the correct preset and that it's working. And we actually need to fix something as well. So Baldur's Gate 3, some of the effects that are installed use the depth buffer, basically to check how far something is away from the screen or the camera. And then we'll apply effects based on that, extra shadows or depth of field or that kind of thing. So we need to also set up the depth correctly as well. Okay, so we're going to go to Steam again, and we're going to launch Baldur's Gate 3. It take a little while to load. Again, I can only apologize for this. Okay, now up at the top we can see that it says ReShade is now installed successfully. Press home to start the tutorial. We're not going to do that just yet. I'm going to let the game finish loading into the menus just in case that it crashes or anything like that. We're just going to let it load in till we're on the kind of main screen for Baldur's Gate. Right? Okay, here we are. So I'm going to click the home key once we go down here. And it's asking us, okay, we've got this tutorial for ReShade. Now, if it's your first time using ReShade, I'd actually recommend going through the tutorial and kind of learning a little bit about it. But for now, I'm going to click skip tutorial, and then we're just going to move on to the next part of the installation. I suppose you can pause the video here if you're going to go through the tutorial, and then you can come back here once you're done. Okay, so first things first, once you're on this this page, you're on the home page of ReShade, check that Pure 1.0.2 is selected. Up at the top, you can see all the different .ini files that you can select. It's Pure underscore 1.0.2 should be selected, right? Excellent. Next, we're going to edit the global preprocessor definitions down here. This basically this banner. It's not just a title, it's a button you can click. So you can click this. And then the only thing we're going to change here is this ReShade depth input is reversed. It's currently set to 0. Yeah, set to 0. And we're going to change that to 1. We're going to hit 1, hit enter, and I'm just going to click back on this button to click off this little floating tab. And now it looks really foggy. Well, why is that? Well, we've reversed the depth, but we actually need to grab the buffer for the depth so that we can so the game can, well, so ReShade can actually read it correctly. So we're going to go up onto the add-ons tab up at the top here now. And then we're just going to click this here where it says copy depth buffer before clear operations. Done. That's all we need to do. Copy depth buffer before clear operations. And also, you see the fogginess has cleared up. I'm also just going to actually hit this little tab button to hide this away for us, right? Okay, so it looks a bit cleaner. I'm then going to go to settings up at the top. Now, this isn't on the install instructions on the page, but this is just a personal thing for me. I'm going to click load only enabled effects down here at the bottom. So anything that isn't enabled will just be hidden. Then I'm going to go back to home up at the top. And then I'm going to click on performance mode down at the bottom, right? Which will just hide this tab down here, and it will make it a little bit more optimal when it comes to running the thing. So that is ReShade installed and the preset installed. You open ReShade by default with the home key. You can actually toggle the effect. If you go up to the settings, you can add a effect toggle key if you want. So I'm just going to add it as the apostrophe there, I guess that's fine. So then we can toggle it by hitting apostrophe, and you can see the effect coming on and off in the menu. Yeah, in the menu it doesn't look too impressive, but once you're in game it will look quite nice. So, but we can actually also see that it's affecting the UI. So as we toggle it, we can see a load of stuff that's like popping up behind the UI. It doesn't look too bad in this case, but if we had a lot more depth of field, it would start to blur the UI quite. It would look quite messy. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install this ReShade UI Masker. So I'm going to quit the game now. And we'll just wait for this to stop. Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down now. And it says to stop the preset effect in the UI, I recommend using ReShade UI Masker by DMC99. So we click on ReShade UI Masker here. It'll open up this page now, right? Now this is a separate mod. So we're going to go to the file section here. And we're going to manual download the INI file from here, okay? Yet again, slow download. And it's going to be in a RAR file, so hopefully you've got something that can open a RAR, 7-zip, WinRAR, that kind of thing. I'm going to double click to open it. Okay, so we have this ReShade shader effect, or ReShade effect shader toggler.ini. And drag and drop that into my bin folder as well, and we can see that it's there. ReShade shader effect. Oh, if I move out of the way. ReShade shader or effect shader toggler.ini is in there. Okay, cool. We can close that now. Now in the description as well, it says download the ReShade shader effect toggler from the GitHub repository. Okay, well that's what we're going to do now. Unfortunately, this isn't a clickable link, but if you want a clickable link, if you go to the requirements here and click this, where it says shader add-on toggle, we can click this and it will open up the GitHub. Now what we want to download is the latest release.zip. So we're currently at v1.3.20. And then we're just going to click on this release.zip. It will download it for us. Ends up here. We're going to open up this release.zip. And all we want from here are the add-on of ReShade effect shader toggler.addon32 and ReShade effect shader toggler.addon64. So we're going to grab both of these. I'm going to hit Control in order to select both of them, or you can drag them one by one. I'm going to drag them down into the bin folder as well. And now these are both also in my bin folder down here. Okay, cool. So we can close this now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do everything else in the actual game, right? So we can actually close out this completely now. we can get rid of all of these folders, and we can just open up Baldur's Gate 3, and we can finish it off in here. Right, let's load in. Yep, there we are. And yet again, you can toggle the effect if you, don't like the look of it while you're in the menus or on the loading screens. That's totally fair. Just going to press any key, come into it. And now in order to show the effect in game, to make it like quite obvious what we're doing right now with this UI masker, I'm going to click continue, and I'm just going to jump into a game. Right, we're in. So let's just talk to Lizelle. Okay, fine. So it's all loaded. That's great, and we can toggle the effect like this, so we can actually see it working in the conversations. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to hit home to open up the ReShade menu, and then I'm going to go to the add-ons pane. Let's hide generic depth for now, and we see this new one called ReShade Shader Effects Toggler. We're going to open it up, and under where it says list of toggle groups, we're going to go to settings here, where it says UI Mask settings. Okay, now how it's currently set up doesn't actually work. We need to change some stuff in order to get it to work properly, but once we've changed it, it will work, I promise you. So if we scroll down in this list here of pixel shaders, we can see one is highlighted yellow. It's C6879C29. We're just going to double click it so it goes white again, so it's no longer yellow. So we double clicked it and we can see that it's no longer yellow, right? When we click off it. Okay. Next, we need to find one called 0x11C 53BBA. So just give me a second to find this. I'm sure someone will spot this before I do. Oh no, there it is. Okay, so 0x11C 53BBA. I'll hopefully put some text on screen or something so you can read it more clearly. Okay, now we need to change some stuff here. So the invocation location is going to be on render target change. That's correct, right? The match swap chain is going to be on resolution, and we're going to apply all enabled techniques. Okay, so we need to double click it so it's yellow, because right now it's also white. So this 11C53BBA, double click it so it's yellow. No, it's saved. Okay, done, saved. Okay, so there we go.